Hi there, this is Catherine Martzloff. Today I'm gonna talk a few minutes about this painting, the Vintage Garden Party. And this oil painting is 24 by 30 inches and a horizontal orientation. And I like the idea of patchwork. That's something that's sort of followed me around a bit in my life, this idea of patchwork. I like patchwork quilts. I have a special one that my mother made me when I was a teen. I still have it. And patchwork sort of symbolizes, or I think parallels a lot of life, how I've had these patchwork of experiences and they all come together to form a life, and it keeps growing and changing. Um, so this is sort of the idea that runs underneath these paintings that I've been creating, that have they have a geometric feel to them. There's geometric shapes, and then a lot of different objects that I put inside them. And how I approach it is with a lot of just sort of in the moment inspiration. I take pattern fabrics, I take colored paper, put them out on a surface, and then I'll add in my selection of objects. And a lot of the things that I have you'll see repeated in different paintings, and they all have some sort of memory to me with different times in my life. And I kind of like that about it. There's some sort of symbolism in the composition when I put it together, and the ending story is sometimes different, and certainly the titles I don't really know going into the painting, but they kind of evolve after I'm sitting with the painting for a while and having an experience with it. So this piece, I like the idea of Vintage Garden Party. It just seems festive to me, and I've got a lot of nice yellows in it. There's white, there's beautiful floral patterning in here, pinks and oranges, and just sort of fun garden-like colors, as well as there's greens in here. So it's very lighthearted. Reminds me of a flower bed, or just a beautiful vintage garden landscape. Sometimes those are very constructed in a way, but also, my experience, they do have a bit of an organic feel to them. So this piece, I have a mixture of, like I said, vintage objects. I like glass as well. I've liked glass most of my life. There's something about transparency and being able to see through things, and the way light reflects through glass. So I have a number of these are vintage bottles that I've collected, and they're all empty, so we get to see through them. And you can interpret that in a lot of different ways. Empty vessels, waiting for something to be put in them. Something that's been used, but the shell is still there, that has beauty. The tea kettle is from my former mother-in-law, and I had a collection. I still have a collection of like tea kettles. So this was one that she found and gave to me. And then I'll always incorporate some sorts of fruit. A lot of lemons. I like lemons. I love the yellow color, so we have those in here. And I have a tomato and an orange. And the fruit, for me, always bring it back to the present moment. Those are live things. They're fresh. They're uneaten and full of sustenance. So things that also come from a garden. So there's a tie-in to that theme here in this painting. And the stein reminds me of my nephew and my daughter. We would go to antique shops and stuff, and so one time each of them picked up something sort of on this line of items, and so I still have this stein, and it's just an interesting shape, an art form. And I think that's the other thing in these creations. I'm really looking at objects, like everyday pieces, things that I've seen a lot of times, that they have an artistic aspect to them, whether it's their shape or this beautiful syrup jar with its architected glass, or just the shape of this bottle with its beautiful little top. I mean, there's always something really special about these pieces, and I like taking note of that because, you know, sometimes I mean, we all do, like, use things every day and you forget that they have beauty to them. Even the simplest teacup or a creamer or a sugar bowl. So there's something about celebrating that and acknowledging it as part of a painting as well, and what I'm creating. So what else do I want to say about this? There's a lot of bright colors. I use some flat color. I like to use a lot of patterning, and here I have like a diamond pattern fabric, the florals, which I've already mentioned, and then always these geometric sort of panes of color, which for me to symbolize sort of the idea of a window, as well as, you know, it could be a patch of solid fabric in an expansive quilt. So yeah, this is a fun piece. It's very cheerful and festive, unique, and I use a lot of, you know, simplified shapes, a lot of line. I like to really hone in on the silhouettes and just explore what might unfold within them, and incorporating a lot of color. The colors always are grounded in what I'm actually seeing, and exaggerated for their, you know, I brighten them up, or maybe I make them a little warmer or a little cooler, just in keeping with what's sort of happening with me in the context of relating to what I'm painting. So Vintage Garden Party, like I said, it's a 24-inch by 30-inch oil painting on a stretched canvas. It has a 1.5-inch depth, and it's a beautiful piece that could go in a lot of places. Doesn't need to be framed, although it would look awesome in a frame. And it's just really a unique and special piece that I hope the viewer is inspired, or sort of, I hope the viewer is brought to some of their own memories, and maybe a story in their life that they recall from experiencing this. And thank you for letting me speak about my painting today, and until next time, thank you.